YouTube. Welcome back to another reaction video, man. It's your boy, She Loves D. Loud, you know what I'm saying? So, in today's video, goddamn, where is the Smith family now? We're talking about Will Smith here, so we're gonna see what this video talking about, you know what I'm saying? So, roll to 5,000 subscribers, man. We already hit 1,000 already, so now we just need that 4,000 watch hours. And I ain't gonna lie, every video I post every single day, I gain watch hours every single time, man. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy, She Loves B-Law, and let's get it. Let go. Ooh. All right, YouTube, let's get it. Let's go, man. Let's see.
Hi, it's Haley Williams. Check out the music video for my song Glum on YouTube and YouTube Shorts, directed by my friends
Being consistently ranked among the back in the day, Will Smith and his family were about as close to show business royalty as it came. Led by Will being consistently ranked among the highest grossing and highest paid actors in Hollywood, the former musician turned big screen megastar had laid the foundation for his two kids, Jaden and Willow, to live a charmed life beyond anything he experienced in West Philadelphia.
Jaden Smith, what the fuck? I ain't gonna lie, I used to look up to this nigga Jaden Smith. He probably cool as hell and shit, but nigga, you look freaky as hell, freak ass nigga. You look freaky as hell.
During his youth. Likewise, his wife, actress and musician Jada Smith, could pursue any project she wanted with the knowledge that the man behind such blockbusters as Men in Black, Independence Day, and Hancock could hold down the fort. But as they all evolved in the public eye and aspects of their real lives began to spill out, people went from aspiring to be like Hollywood's first family to actively taking pity on them and anyone else who gets sucked into their dysfunctional web. From entanglements and slaps, the past few years have destroyed the mystique around them once and for all. And now, each of them is struggling to pick up the pieces. It's your boy LouExtras, and this is where the Smith family are now. When discussing this celebrity clan, there's no better place to start than with the man who put them all on the map in the first place. Yet, before we can discuss his downfall, we must first explain the depths of his fame and the love that he once received from the entire world. Once an aspiring rapper, Will first emerged in the public eye alongside DJ Jazzy Jeff as the Fresh Prince. And while they found some early success, and even won the first rap Grammy, hits like Summertime and Girls Are Nothing But Trouble could only sustain them for so long. Slowly, the wheels of what seemed like a profitable enterprise fell off, leaving the kid from West Philly back where he started.
We released our next album, and it was like a flop. It went like double plastic. I spent all my money, and I didn't forget, but I didn't pay the IRS. In my mind, I wasn't like trying to avoid paying taxes. I was just like, oh damn, they need their money. The IRS took all of that stuff, so I was like broke. Being famous and broke is a shitty combination, because you're still famous and people recognize you, but they recognize you while you sitting next to them on the bus.
But his future wouldn't be so uncertain for long, as he eventually got his big break when TV came calling.
So Benny walks me in and introduced me to Quincy. Like, hey Q, what's up, man? He said, hey man, I saw your music videos. I love what you're doing. Tell me your rap name again. They call me the Fresh Prince. All right, good. That's what we're gonna call the show.
The show in question was The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the renowned sitcom which not only entertained a generation of kids, but was Will's stepping stone to stardom. Once he had established himself as a valuable commodity on screen, Hollywood soon wanted to cash in. And from Bad Boys in 1995 through to King Richard in 2021, there is the perception that he was a safe bet when it came to the box office. Granted, not all of these films were critical success. Think Bright or Wild Wild West, but they certainly made plenty of money as people flocked to see Will. Meanwhile, he kept one foot in the rap game, racking up platinum-selling albums all through the 90s, until he finally put the mic down for good with 2005's Lost and Found. This would be hard for most people to sustain, as oversaturation can usually kill a career. But if there was one thing that was the glue which allowed the Will Smith train to stay on the tracks, it was his squeaky clean image, which made America and the world welcome him with their hearts. records. Even back in the days when he was a rapper, Will was different from his contemporaries in that his rhymes were free of profanity. I was 12 years old and I started rapping, he said of his career origins. So I had my rap book and I was writing my stuff. I had my little curse words in my rap book, and my grandmother found it, turned to the back page and said, "Dear Willard, truly intelligent people do..."
Now YouTube, the biggest fan of my boy Will Smith, goddamn. But y'all tell me, do y'all know any motherfucking songs from this nigga? Cause I don't. I mean, like I said, the songs that he had put in the beginning, yeah, but do y'all really know his shit for real? His albums? Cause I don't. I know I'm young and shit, but Fresh Prince, the Will Smith was my guy, goddamn. But do y'all really know? Back to the video. Ooh.
Not use words like this to express themselves. Please show the world you're as smart as we think you are. Love, Gigi. I read that and I was like, fuck. And from that point on, he governed his career on this principle. But while this made him a fortune beyond his wildest dream, it created issues with how he was perceived as a man. My story was very different from the ones being told by the young black men who were launching the global phenomenon that would later become hip-hop. He said in his autobiography,
Classic.
In their minds, I was somehow an illegitimate artist. They would call me soft, whack, corny, a bubblegum rapper, criticisms that violently infuriated me. And as he got older, his image of the man who doesn't need to curse to sell records grated on people, notably Eminem.
It's the whole gender of rap. He dissed gangster rap. I felt like he was taking a stab at me and Dre and anybody who uses profanity on a record to express themselves. Not everybody is as happy as Will Smith. So if he sees life about birds and bees and wants to rap about flowers, then let him rap about birds and bees and flowers. But don't diss nobody else.
Still, besides hip-hop's reservations about his belief that he was better than them for refusing to cuss, Will was still almost universally beloved at one point. But what no one realized was that the real him was never fully present whenever the cameras were around or when he hit that red light in the recording booth. And as it turned out, he was a ticking time bomb whose life lived in the shadows would soon come to light. As he geared up for the release of his best-selling autobiography, Will Smith seemed to hint towards the fact that the man he presented on screen and who he really was were, to at least some extent, two different people.
I'm coming into a space.
How have you maintained your authenticity? Because, I mean, you come from Philly, you've gone through everything. Like, your journey's been crazy. Like, how have you maintained that?
I haven't maintained my authenticity per se. I've maintained...
Why you gotta talk like this, man? Like, we understand what you talking about. Shit. Maintain.
My character. Character in two senses. I've maintained my character of Will Smith, and I've maintained my personal character of what I believe in. So, but in terms of authenticity, the character, Will Smith, signs every autograph and is always happy and wants to see the fans and is always in a good mood. And that's actually not authentic, right? I do want to slap somebody, you know, every once in a while. So in terms of authenticity, I have successfully maintained positivity, and now I'm working more to maintain authenticity.
When you think about it, this is a lot for any means to bear. When empires rest on you keeping some grand, closely guarded illusion in place. And as he spoke out more and more, it was clear that the veil had started to slip.
I painted myself into a corner with Will Smith, and I realized that, you know, we have our childhood traumas and we have our experiences, and then we all create these characters that are going to be our characters that defend us in the world. Ooh, there's certain things we can't do, there's certain things we can't say, certain ways we react if people do something, and we create a character that we go out into the world with. Then that character win some things for us. It's like, oh, we succeed by behaving this way. Then what happens, you get to a point where it stops working as well. And the reason that it stops working is because it's not true.
And as more of his personal life stumbled into the conversation, it was clear that so little of what was presented to the world rang true in his day-to-day existence.
Me and Jada talk about that a lot, you know, even in the idea of our marriage and how people want us to be married versus how we're really married. Right. You know what I mean? It's like it's a really different thing, and it's so hard.
I'm not married yet, goddamn. But I'm sorry, I got him looking like. But I feel like they be forcing it, man. Just keep it simple. Once you keep life simple and relationships simple, bro, like stop making a marriage thing like a job, bro. Y'all niggas weird.
Hard to let go of the characters and what people want to see, and because also those characters saved your life when you were young.
Right. Yes.
So letting go of that and having the courage to really be who you are in the world, it's like, it's terrifying.
Suddenly, the man that we all saw as the epitome of cool wasn't the charismatic and self-assured Fresh Prince. Instead, it was a man who was vulnerable and even envious of his wife's friendship with the late Tupac.
Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?
Yeah, that was a big regret for me too, because I could never open up to interact with Pac, but she just loved him like he was the image of perfection. But she was with the Fresh Prince. It was like I never could, like, even we were in a room together a couple times, I couldn't speak to him, and he wasn't going to speak to me if I wasn't going to speak to him. That was a huge regret of mine. I couldn't handle it. I was the soft rapper from Philly and he was Pac.
Right.
Yeah, no, I was deeply insecure and just I wasn't man enough to handle that really.
While all these feelings are valid, the problem was that bottling them up for so long in favor of keeping the wheels on his public image moving could only work for so long. And as we all know, it would fully unravel on the night of the 2022 Academy Awards. That night should have been a crowning glory, as he went from being a sitcom to an Oscar-winning actor for his role in King Richard. But instead, the man who Jimmy Kimmel had previously referred to as the nicest man in Hollywood saw his reputation go up in smoke.
Oh, wow! Wow! Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Nigga, that smile. I said smile. That slap. It didn't look like a real slap, but he definitely slapped him. Goddamn.
Out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to.
With that one rash action in defense of his wife,
should've
Will
never
Smith
did
was
that.
not only banned from the Oscars for 10 years, but fundamentally changed how the world saw him. And even when he tried to shoot himself some bail, the whole world, including his own family, weren't willing to simply forget the change they'd seen take place before their eyes.
It was a lot of things. It was the little boy that watched his father beat up his mother. That was a rage that had been bottled for a really long time. I lost it. My nephew, Dom, is 9. We came home and it's like he had stayed up late to see his Uncle Will. And he's just like, why did you hit that man, Uncle Will? Damn it. Why are you trying to Oprah me?
Since then, his film career has essentially come to a halt, making one of the most financially lucrative stars of the previous era now left out in the cold. With the exception of Bad Boys Ride or Die, Will has barely stepped in front of the camera since the incident, unless it was to film a music video.
Every time I pause this damn video, he be looking goofy as hell. If I'm Will Smith, man, he can't say sorry to that. But I just say, hey, you can slap me right here, man. Shit, in front of the whole world, and think he'll be back to normal.
Because once the acting world took a step away from him,
Oscars,
Will decided it was time
bruh.
to return to the culture that had first
Oscars.
given him fame and fortune in hip-hop. Released 20 years after his last foray into the booth, Will teased the release of his new album based on a true story, as though it would be his greatest work.
This is the first time in my life where I'm able to devote the time and energy to every single line, making sure every single line is exactly what I want to say.
Along the way, he sought counsel from modern-day greats, all of whom told him to embrace honesty in a way that he never did before.
I made 2 phone calls. I talked to Jay and I talked to Kendrick. And I was like, hey, I want to get back in music. Jay said, don't fake your story. And he said, you'll be looking at the younger rappers and you want that to be true for you, but you don't live like that. And Kendrick, he said, he paused, he said, man, just say that shit you always been fucking scared to say. And it was like, the same thing. Yes, basically the same thing. And it was like, be honest.
A record which featured contributions from the likes of Big Sean, Russ, Joyner Lucas, and others. The bars addressed his turbulent life with bars like personal life with my...
Listen, paying $14.99 a month for a streaming app,
Damn, I wish he didn't
$9.99 a
slap
month
him
for a
though,
music
man.
app, and $12.99 for...
My wife. Mind your business is complicated.
He didn't
All
say
that matters
too
is the
much.
fact that I'm getting compensated. Elsewhere, he addressed the infamous slap. But even with all the intrigue over what on earth a Will Smith rap album would sound like in 2025, the response was poor. Commercially, he'd never released a solo album that hadn't gone at least gold. And now, this one failed to chart entirely. While in the United Kingdom, based on a true story, reportedly sold under 300 total copies. As for reviews, Pitchfork gave the album a savage one, granting it just a 2.4 out of 10, while also claiming it was a pointless apology tour and corny. And unfortunately, the only support came from the kind of sources that would only worsen his image presently, like Kanye. Elsewhere, he was flamed by Chris Rock's brother Tony, who essentially said that the controversy surrounding his infamous Oscars incident, and the speculation he might talk about it, was the only selling point there was.
Yeah, hey, well, I'm trying to be a comic, like, you know, Will Smith has an album out, and it's a piece of
Well, like,
that trying to sell a album. I'm surprised he wasn't talking about being a drug dealer on this one, or he went to jail and got shot 9 times. He's trying to sell a album.
Not knowing when to quit, Will has continued to double down into music, and to say that the Pretty Girls track that followed hasn't helped matters would be an understatement. This is a midlife crisis.
What the fuck is he
Followed hasn't
doing?
helped matters would be an understatement.
Bro, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Will. Bro, what the fuck was that?
And to say that the Pretty Girls track that followed hasn't helped matters would be an understatement. This is a midlife crisis.
is he
This man
doing?
was the most beloved actor in the world for years. His downfall
Facts.
needs to be studied. And recently, he dropped a freestyle, which have left people wishing that he would just put the mic back on the shelf.
You talking crazy out your face up on the stage and disrespect me on the stage. Expect me on the stage. Jokers dish it out, cry foul when it's time to take it. A city full of real ones, wasn't raised to fake it.
This was more like fire in the dumpster. I am the illest sounds like affirmations he says in the mirror every day before facing the world. In the case of Will Smith, we see how an icon can fall under a string of bad decisions and personal revelations which
real.
destroy the idea of who they are. But let's be clear that the Fresh Prince didn't destroy his legacy single-handedly. Instead, his downfall was basically a co-op mission between him and his longtime partner, Jada Pinkett Smith. Back in the day, Jada and her superstar husband were seen as the definition of how success and love could thrive simultaneously. Married since 1987, the image as a bulletproof family unit was so pronounced that J. Cole spoke about how he thought that Jada and Will love are no role models. But it's safe to say that this line hits a lot different these days.
I want a real love, dark skin and Aunt Viv love. Love, that leave a toothbrush at your crib, love.
And when it comes to what brought down this part of their dynasty, you need to only look at Jada's decisions to share every facet of their life with the public. In this sense, her once popular Facebook live show, Red Table Talk, was what destroyed them. Initially intended as an open forum, they said it was a place for real conversations to happen.
We just always want to have just real conversations, and so I think it's we're in the conversation with you. Right? Yeah, we're sharing our stories, we're sharing our experiences. It's a safe space for women.
But over time, it became something more sinister, and eventually, it would be the venue for the beginning of the end for the Smiths, where she decided to open up about her extramarital relationships, namely, her bond with August Alsina.
4.5 years ago, started a friendship with August. We actually became really, really good friends. And it all started with him just needing some help. Me wanting to help his health, mental state.
And then what did you do, Jada?
You know, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship, absolutely.
Before it was all said and done, Jada made him feel inadequate for good measure, but they then insisted they were never splitting up.
25 years and counting.
We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
This whole thing probably seemed to Jada like an opportunity to speak the truth to the world. To the public, it's not only permanently soured how we saw them, but it's safe to say that no one else saw it that way.
Now, why in the hell is this fucking marriage is bad? How did it get bad? Why is it bad? Come on, I have a friend. They needed no, bruh. No, you can't have no niggas around your girlfriend, your wife. What? Nigga, what? Hell no.
While she maintained that she was in a lot of pain, no one truly believed that she was suffering in any way compared to the mental turmoil that Will endured from having to reveal that to the public. Will looked uncomfortable as fuck. Their laughter looked forced. Will was really hurt. She just didn't care. With that, the public began to look at their dynamic in a whole new light, charting all the time that she pestered her husband online or generally violated his boundaries.
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me
Reaction video.
if you could film.
Astaire, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Don't. Because she don't just.
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not, don't just start rolling. I'm standing in my house. Don't just start rolling.
Please watch Astaire at the red table because she's helped.
Yeah, I had saw this weak ass IG live stream. I don't know why in the hell she's recording this nigga anyway. The fuck is she recording this nigga for? And the fact that Will Smith shouldn't even allow that to even happen, brother. And if that was to happen, don't say nothing. The hell? Break up with this motherfucker. Divorce this motherfucker. Hold on, let me get this down phone.
That's a lot, can't you tell?
With this, people were left feeling betrayed because through Jada exposing what Will really tolerated, it destroyed the concept of who he was.
For Jada in particular, though, she just really came off as the stereotype that a lot of men have about women refusing to be accountable for the ways in which they hurt the men close to them. Jada, in many ways, dances around the nature of this relationship and at one point calls it an entanglement, which makes Will, who this whole time has always played the supportive and aloof partner, break character, where he has to almost side-eye her and her use of that term and confront her with being accountable for what it really was, a relationship that she had with another man. Aside from the concerning nature of her relationship with August, I think a lot of black men find themselves very angry at Jada because of what she did to our image of Will Smith and what that says about black men's experiences seeking love and seeking to do things the quote-unquote right way.
Still, he stood by her through it all, even as she announced the launch of her tell-all memoir that was only going to
I tell you this, I would never, and I don't care how bad you is, if you trying to fuck up my image and you on some bullshit, boy, you is out the door. You is gone, twin. Hell no, you is gone. It all depends on if Will Smith doing some shit too, then shit, that's just him doing some shit too. It's his fault. But they both weird as hell. I ain't gonna lie. I used to fuck with Will Smith heavy, man. I still do, but man, I ain't talking about nothing.
dredge up more of their private life into the public eye.
I applaud and honor you. If I had read this book 30 years ago, I definitely would have hugged you more. I'll start now. Welcome to the Authors Club. I love you endlessly. Now go get some Merlot and take a rest.
He know I can't have no Merlot. That's beautiful. And that's why I can't divorce that joker.
As the press tour for her book Worthy picked up steam, sources claim that the kids feel bad for their dad with all the recent headlines about their parents. They know he has been going through a lot lately, and this isn't helping. They wish some of their family's private matters remained private. With Jada still intent on profiting from the turmoil she was causing, it only seemed poetic when the book flopped. Not just because it deserved to, but because all the juiciest bits were already public knowledge long before it hit the shelves.
Basically what I'm asking is,
it seems like in every single interview she gave away a lot of the book's content. So what's the point of buying the book?
This was not interesting. People just did not give a f. We were tired of Jada.
You don't want to hear about
period.
Tupac being your soulmate,
so it don't matter.
Or him proposing to you. You watch you on Red.
Oh God, we heard that too many times.
Table talk. You and your mom and your daughter talk. Y'all all done y'all conversations about your past. And like, what else is there for us to know at this point?
To her detractors' delight, she failed to make the top 100 of the Kindle e-reader chart, where it had only sold 2,700 copies and wound up at number 81 on its bestseller list. And for everything she'd done to tarnish her husband's reputation, it couldn't help but feel like justice to some degree. However, she's far from the only member of the family to suffer from personal projects flopping. Throughout his career, Jaden has continually strived to be something more than the son of Will and Jada. It's for reasons such as this that the former child actor who starred in films like The Pursuit of Happiness and Karate Kid was emancipated at age 15.
You got to a point where you told me straight up, you were like, Mom, I have to leave here to live my life.
Totally.
And I remember thinking to myself, as devastated as I was like, he's right. Yeah. The time is now. He's 15. It's time for him to leave the house.
But prior to him truly making anything of his own, people feel like it was a foregone conclusion that he would be a success.
That is Jaden Smith. Think about it. He is the first rich black kid, really, like, of royalty, where people are like, you're Will Smith's dad. He has room to fail.
But it isn't just that he's always in the shadow of his father, but that he always presumes that what he's doing is more profound than it truly is.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
It's pretty embarrassing when my dad tries to kiss me on the mouth in public. He tried to make a heart with our hands like this. I was against that as well.
You weren't down with the heart with Dad. I think it's sweet that your dad loves you so much.
I appreciate the love, but there's a time and place to kiss somebody.
I got it. I got it.
A kid with no concept of how the real world actually worked, Jaden was permitted to try his hand at everything without any real ramifications if it goes wrong, including becoming a laughingstock on social media for assuming he was wise beyond his years. If everybody in the world was out of school, we would have a much more intelligent society. You actually kind of sound like an idiot. From the release of his Project Sire onwards, Jaden has been certain that his work was generational.
To me, Sire is the kid who always chases the sun, but he's like a modern Cupid. He's a symbol of love and teenage love, but most of all, he's a symbol of teenage heartbreak and sadness. He's kind of like a myth, like a legend. Sire exists in the clouds, on the mountaintops, you know, like in the sunset, and he just represents, you know, broken, lost teenage youth, lost love. There are some things I have done that are very, very iconic, like wearing a skirt at Louis Vuitton, or like crying in my music videos. So I feel like that's iconic because no one does those things, you know?
But both his misguided parts and his antics just kept making him a meme, rather than the mainstream artist that he hoped to be.
I am very happy that I spent my childhood with more adults than I did with kids my own age. Because I was picking up more things from adults than I were from kids my own age. And I look, and I go around sometimes and I hang out with other people that are my age, and they're just kind of just selfie. I'm just like, dude, like, oh my God, like, can we talk about like the political and economic state of the world right now?
When you weren't born into wealth and privilege and never had any real problems, you go looking for them. Him and his family are so unbelievably out of touch with reality. Despite all the evidence to the contrary, Jaden once thought he was making inroads to the upper reaches of the hip-hop world. I always felt like Little Homie before, and that allowed me in all of their circles. But now that I'm on the charts next to them, I'm not Little Homie anymore. It's more like, you can't hang out with us anymore. We didn't know you were making an album this whole time. We thought you were just Little Homie, giving us free water and shit. You're not really cool with us anymore. But in reality, like I break down more in depth in my video on Jaden Smith over on the main channel, it's actually been the complete opposite. While Sire initially got some traction and even got certified, his music has been progressively ignored. All the while, he couldn't outrun his family drama, with it stalking his every move into the media.
Even most recently, mom and dad going through something, or you're going through something in public. How do you guys communicate with one another when that happens? Is it completely like that's the entertainment world and that doesn't affect the family, or?
It's kind of like that's the entertainment world. Also, by the time anyone is like writing or talking about anything, it's like we've been
beyond it.
Old news for us.
Where Jaden sees himself as a trailblazing artist, he has instead been reduced to a tabloid figure. And in the past few years, there has been more interest in Jaden's love life than his music. For a while, he was dating an influencer known as Jada, becoming so infatuated with her that it stopped him from putting out a new project, writing in February 2024, album soon, I've Been Distracted. But after he was caught kissing influencer and model Cleopatra, she was then seen with rapper Diablo, shading Smith in a photo of the two of them together. And where each of his projects is largely met with a tepid response, this actually caused some social media buzz, although his attempts to parlay it into music didn't result into sales.
So talk to me about why, after 3 years, a break from music, you decided now was the time to make a return.
Just because I was sad, honestly, and I wanted to share that.
Is it more difficult to kind of process your emotions through music, or is it easier for you that way?
I think it's easier. I think it's a lot easier. You know what I mean? Like, just to say something through music.
Intent on acting like he was a Kanye when he's really more of a Kid Ink, Jaden continues to look goofy at every turn. And because he flops left and right, he's never getting anywhere near as well as his sibling. The youngest of the Smith family, Willow dropped her debut single at just 9 years old. And
man, tell me, when I was young, man, I used to have a crush on this girl so fucking bad, bro. I seen that whip my hair back and forth shit. Bro, she was the GOAT. The GOAT crush. GOAT crush. Anyways, man, the GOAT but now, fuck no.
It was a smash. Whip My Hair peaked just outside the top 10, proving early on that she had star potential, and at that point, had already achieved more in music than her brother ever had. But while you might have assumed that she was delighted with starting her career at such a prodigious age, Willow, who wouldn't release an album until 5 years later, despised it.
It was after that whole Whip My Hair thing, and I had just stopped doing singing lessons.
Right.
And I was kind of just in this gray area of who am I? Is there, do I have a purpose? Is there anything that I can do besides this? After the tour and the promotion and all of that, and it was they wanted me to finish my album. And I was just no, I'm not gonna do that.
In fact, it led to a spiral of depression, which led to self-harm and caused her to reflect on whether she was pushed into the spotlight by her parents prematurely.
It was just so crazy, and I was just plunged into this black hole. And I was myself, what?
Yourself, I didn't see that part.
A long time ago.
Yourself where?
On my wrist. I mean, you can't even see it, but there's still a little something there, but totally lost my sanity for a moment there.
I definitely had to forgive you and Daddy for the whole With My Hair thing. It was mostly Daddy because he was so harsh at certain times, she said. It was a couple of years, honestly, trying to regain trust for not feeling like I was being listened to, or like no one cared how I felt, she continued. And I had to forgive myself because I felt guilty because everyone is trying to make me better, trying to make my dream. But I didn't really understand what my dream entailed. Since then, Willow has strived to put that arrow behind her, and even shaved her head during a performance of the track. And where that track came closer to poppy R&B, she has been genre hopping ever since, even dipping into pop punk with her album, Lately I Feel Everything. Along the way, she's got her brother's tendency to comparing herself to legends.
Album number 6, that's quite one.
What always makes me feel better is that Prince has so many albums, and he, obviously was an icon, and sometimes I think about it and I'm like, oh my God, too many albums. But then I just think about Prince and I'm like, never too many albums.
Beyond that, she's also prone to her mother's oversharing, telling her parents that she was polyamorous, sparking a debate around the red table talk.
In my friend group, I'm the only polyamorous person, and I have the least sex out of all of my friends.
I think anything goes as long as the intentions are clear. You know what I mean?
To everyone.
Yeah. Most people are practicing monogamy because they feel like they have no other choice.
Right.
We all know that most people out here doing unethical non-monogamy any damn way.
Could you imagine being in a group and loving everyone equally?
No.
Whether it be platonic or not?
Mm-mm.
Wow. Well, then I don't know what to say.
But where Jaden generally
traditional mom over there, well, shit, hopefully,
only talks to talk, Willow actually backs it up. Now 6 projects deep into her career, Willow found her sound on Empathogen,
23, 6 albums out. How is this project going to be different from everything else you've done?
This album is my first grown-up album. There's never a moment in your life where you're like, this is me. There is a moment in your...
I think I got unconscious tonight, 6 dimensions.
Life where you realize what really matters to you and you realize the path that you're always going to be on. And for me, that path is sharpening my musicianship.
Wait a minute, I think I got my conscience tonight for a diamond. Wait a minute, 6 dimensions. My bad, I ain't gonna lie. Hey, that song go hard as hell, I ain't gonna lie. Back to the video. Ooh.
My compassion, and those two go hand in hand, and I feel like this album is the first album where I'm on the same page with myself.
A project which led her critics to hail her evolution, Willow has been open about the fact that she's been striving for acceptance for a long time, and now she's finally got it.
When I was 12, I sat down and I was like, dang, can I really call myself a musician? I remember the moment I was in my room and I was like looking up videos of like my favorite artists and just like trying to vibe out on something. And then I hit a dark thought and I was like, it just hit me really hard in that moment. Like, no, I can't. Now I feel differently about that. And it's because I just really put the hard work in to prove to myself. Because sometimes in my life I felt like, oh, like see me, like I'm working hard at this, accept me. And that's never the way.
Currently opening for Coldplay on tour, it's fair to say that at the moment, she's the Smith that's leading the pack, even finding value in that early viral hit, which she once loathed.
My message hasn't really changed. Like, Whip My Hair is like, be yourself, live out loud, don't care what anybody thinks, express yourself. That hasn't really changed. So I really feel like Whip My Hair is just a foundation for everything that has come later, you know what I'm saying?
Now that we've looked at Willow, that's the end of the biological members of the Smith clan. However, there's still one person who's become as intertwined with the family name in the headlines as anyone else,
the older brother?
And that is August Alsina. Emerging onto the scene in 2012, August seemed like a genuine R&B prospect. Signed to Def Jam, following his The Product mixtapes, his debut album Testimony peaked at #2 on the Billboard charts, with audiences praising his unique style. Back then, any headlines surrounding August genuinely revolved around his music, except for that one time he revealed he wouldn't go down on women, something which people may argue makes more sense knowing what we know now.
Listen, I don't know why people make a big deal out of this. Like, goddamn, I don't eat pussy. I'm young. I ain't about to. I guess the world we live in, people just, that's what goes on. Everybody just eating, everybody puss. And I'm cool right now, man. Like, you know, one day, of course, but blah, blah.
But that would all change with the news of his entanglement with Jada, a woman who he first met as a friend of her son's. Now, years on, this is still brought up at every trip. First met as a...
Now, why in the hell is this nigga's shirt is like that? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my girl, we ain't doing that. The fuck?
Friend of her son's. Now, years on, this is still brought up at every turn, with August claiming that he feels that it skewed the image of who he is.
People can have whatever ideas that they like, but what I'm not okay with is my character, you know, being in question. When certain things are questionable that I know is not me, or that I know that I haven't done, you know, contrary to what some people may believe, I'm not a troublemaker. I don't like drama. Drama actually makes me nauseous, you know what I'm saying? And I also don't think that it's ever important for people to know what I do, who I sleep with, who I date, right?
But even though they aired his business, he still wouldn't drag them, and claimed that he's ultimately the one who's lost out, even though he'd cleared it up with Will.
I actually sat down with Will and had a conversation due to the transformation from their marriage to life partnership that they've spoken on several times, and it not involving romanticism. He gave me his blessing, and I totally gave myself to that relationship for years of my life.
Along the way, he tried to distance himself from the whole thing, but sources claim that it was more than it was portrayed as. Jada Pinkett Smith definitely downplayed a 4-year relationship. It was not an entanglement, and that's what made it so unfortunate. Alsina did not drag them in any interviews. It was not a scandal. It was just Alsina telling his truth and getting his life back. He was actually getting sick from the stress of the romance. Physically sick. Eventually, he made a track with Rick Ross dubbed Entanglement, where he broached the situation and just tried to move on. But when the show money dried up, he did what everyone else does and looked towards reality TV, where he wound up on The Surreal Life. However, his ties to the Smith scandal nearly stopped him from taking part at all. I would say that going into it, that probably was one of the factors for me that felt like, do I really want to do this? Because I didn't want to go into a situation where people would grab for low-hanging fruit. I can only be responsible for myself. I can only be responsible for my own actions and hold myself accountable for what I do, what I say, and what I know to be true to myself. To be honest with you, I'm not necessarily surprised about anyone's actions these days. Everybody has the right to say, reveal whatever they decide. I'm not the police of that. Although he said that he and Jada had absolutely zero relationship, he maintained that the truth coming to light was a good thing in some ways. I'm in the space in life where the possibilities are endless because
Baseball season is in full swing. Catch the action live with game day features like key plays from the best seat in the house. YouTube TV. Try it free. Terms apply. Cancel anytime.
Because when you move on beyond your fear and you see what's on the other side of it after you're scared shitless, there's so many gifts on the other side of it. People kick you out. Like, it's so many gifts on the other side of that. And once you go through it and you realize, okay, I'm still alive, I survived, now what? Since then, his life has continued to take twists and turns, with August making major headlines when he revealed on The Surreal Life that he was gay.
Love showed up, but in a new way. I want to share that and really honor the person that I love and that loved me back and teaching me so much about love and healing. I want to do that in front of the world.
In the process, he claimed that opening up about his sexual fluidity was freeing.
And you talked about your love for another man. What has opening your heart done for you?
To be honest with you, bro, it's not even me that's opening my heart. It's that power that's higher than myself. I always say that the greatest gift that God has ever given me was exposure. To expose me to so many different kinds of people, places, things. I'm just the kind of person that's
what the
because
fuck?
love is a language, I'm fluent in love when it speaks to me.
But while he may have felt lighter spiritually, the whole Smith ordeal has clearly impacted his career when you consider that the 2023 album Myself was his first to fail to hit the charts. And most recently, he declared that when the time was right, he would reveal the industry's deceitful ways. One day, it'll be revealed the diabolical level of doxing, railroading, stonewalling, roadblocking, gaslighting, and betrayal that goes on behind the scenes within the industry. He wrote, abuse of power, all in the name of upkeeping facades, promotion of lies and illusions, while simultaneously hiding of hands to make it look as though you're fighting an invisible boogeyman. In this industry, there is no HR to report this kind of behavior to, but God has never slept on my prayers or report. Within the space of 5 years, it seemed like everyone went from wishing they could see inside the Smiths' glamorous lives to suddenly wishing that they never got a glimpse behind the curtain. With the family now in the mud, it's going to take a long time for them to recover. And that's if they can at all with everything that's gone down. But let's not forget that the internet always remembers.
Good night.
Alright, YouTube. Alright, YouTube, that's the end of the video. This video right here, the dark side of 1980s basketball, I'm going to watch that next. But this was all weird. I used to watch the Will Smith family 24/7 when I was young, but they started doing all this damn weird shit. I wasn't fucking with it, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Will Smith guy, but I wasn't fucking with it. But yeah, man, it's the end of the video, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. The next video will be the dark side of 1980s basketball. There's a lot of freak offs going on, I heard. So we're gonna go ahead and see what's to that video. But it's your boy She Loves B-Law, man. Road to 1,000 subs. Road to 5K subs. We already hit 1,000 already. But now we just need 4,000 watch hours, goddamn it. I'm not gonna lie. That shit goes fast up and up after every fucking video. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy She Loves B-Law. We back and we better. Ooh.
1980s are